Okay, afternoon viewers, hope you're all well. We started looking at different mental techniques to benefit our game, and one of the ones we spoke about was visualization, so we're just going to go over that. We've got a little bit of writing to go through, so hopefully it shouldn't take you too long to do. Hope it's worthwhile. So we'll start with visualization. So what is it? So visualization, basically for me, again, I don't profess to be an expert, it's just stuff that I've read quite a bit about it, but it's daydreaming. But it's daydreaming with a focus and a purpose. So it's looking to practice a skill mentally within the confines of your house, or wherever you've got a nice environment to do it, quiet environment to do it. But it's basically using the time to practice a said skill. And again, we'll focus on what they are in a little bit. So how do you do it? So first of all, I said pick a skill. So whatever the skill is you want to do, whether it's looking at your body position for Tower of Power, a tackle technique, a pass, you really is totally dependent on what you want to do. Okay, you decide if you're doing it or if you're watching it. So it's you, but is it through your eyes? So as I'm looking at you now, I can see my hands. I'm looking forward to the camera. Okay, so that's my view of it, and that would be my view for making, say, a tackle. Or am I looking at myself from a side on, like almost like watching a replay, watching it from the side point and picking up the aspects of what I'm looking for. The third point, so that's the second point. The third point is put as much detail into it as you can. The more detail you put into it, the more realistic it will seem. The more realistic it will seem, the more it will look like the game. Okay, so put as much the texture of the grass. If you want to put somebody's face on the people that you're working with. If you're lifting, or if you're taking a pass from someone, if it's a pass from your best friend, or whatever. Or if it's tackling someone you hate, put as much detail into it as possible. And then the final bit is I put live it, refine it, and remember it. So really put the effort in. So as much, to say, depends on the detail, but as much effort as you can put into it. If it's not quite working for you, just refine it a little bit. So if you're finding that you can't actually see what you want to see, then just refine it a little bit. Just put a bit more detail into what you're actually trying to do, and then just remember it, because that's the whole point of it. The whole point is that you actually practice the skill just in the comfort of your home. So to give you, I wanted to find the fact, but I couldn't find it. And basically, a study in America, they took 60 basketball players, and 20 of them they gave an hour extra practice a day. They gave, or they made another group of 20 do visualization for something like 20 minutes a day, and then another group was like the test group, the placebo group, and they were just left their own devices. The group that had the more extra practice, their shots success went up, obviously, because they were practicing more. But the actual group that was just doing visualization, there was a significant improvement, not as much as the practice, but there was a significant improvement over the placebo group that didn't have anything. So it does work. And most of the books and most of the people that I've spoken to or listened to will actually say visualization is actually key. So the next bit is, can you do it anywhere? And the answer to that is yes, but there's a few rules that I would advise. You've got to be comfortable. You've got to be in an environment where you're, lying down, sitting down, whatever it is. You've got to be comfortable. Got to be in a peaceful or quiet place, somewhere that you're not going to be distracted, minimal distractions. Also, you've got to personally be stress-free and relaxed. So there's no point having a really stressful day, deciding that, do you know what, I'm going to have a go, and then finding out that it's not working for you, because it's not going to. You need to be in a state of mind that you can totally and utterly focus on what it is you're doing. So, looking at the time, it's only about 5 minutes in, so that's pretty good. I'm just going to go over a couple of examples. So obviously, normally you would close your eyes and really give it the mental image, but just for this one, I'm going to just say it. So I'm lifting a jumper. So I'm a line out lifter, and I'm actually focusing on what I want to do. So the first thing, I'm looking through my own eyes, so I'm checking my body position, and my tower of power. I can actually feel how my tower of power is and should be. You know, slightly bent knees, you know, feet shoulder width apart. Okay. So you checking your tower of power again through your body positioning. Okay, you can see, I can see a body in front of me that I'm going to be lifting. They've got the little straps on their legs that are going to help me lift them. Okay, so the next thing I do, I'm executing a little bend of my knee. So I'm actually dipping a little bit in preparation for the lift. Okay, as they start to come towards me. So as they start to come towards me, I lift, my hands are in the right position. I then watch my hands onto their support. So as they come towards me, I focus my hands nice and slowly going into the supports and watching my thumbs and my pointy finger around the straps and support. Okay, and actually looking to lift them. It's all about the timing. So there's no point in, if you are lifting, your knees start to straighten up before they start to jump, because they're not in a position to have helped you out by jumping. So you're actually watching them. So I've followed my hands into the straps. I've bent my knees ready to explode through and drive up. As I make connection, as they jump, everything sort of comes together very slowly. And the reason I say do it slowly is because you can actually focus on more detail. Okay, you can actually feel it and you can actually digest it, and that's what I mean by refine it. If you think you've gone a little bit early, and I know this is all about mental side of it, you think to yourself, what is he talking about? But honestly, if you try it, okay, it will make sense. So follow my hands into the straps, slight bend of the knees as I do it, drive through as they jump. So I've started to extend my hands. I close the gap between myself and the person I'm lifting. I'm not worried about putting in a second person at the moment, because as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, I can lift that person by myself. That's what I'm worried about. So I've gone in, I've got my hands in the right place, I've bent my knees, I've started the lift as Dave started to jump. Okay, and then I want to make sure that I fully extend my arms and my body's straight. Okay, and then the best thing about this is you can just pause it there and just hold them indefinitely and actually come out and look sideways on to what it should look like. Is my body straight and in a line? Is there a slight bend at the hip? Okay, are my knees bent? Are my arms fully extended, or have I just got them up to shoulder height? So again, it's all about you making sure that what you want to see is what you actually see. So addressing that, making sure the body's straight and everything's straight. There's no gap between you. Okay, you're actually up into the pelvis. Okay, as close as you can without getting arrested. So that's just for lifting. Okay, so the amount of detail I went to and how much I would actually put into it, you know, again, it's totally and utterly dependent on me on how much detail I want to put into it. You know, the grass, what clothing they're wearing, anything, it doesn't really matter. It's all dependent on you. So the next example I'm going to give is the tackle. Okay, so this one again, I'm going to be watching from my own eyes. What I can see is, I can see a player over there with the ball in opposition jersey. Okay, and I can see the person that I believe is going to get the ball. They're on my left side, so I'm coming to them. I'm going to use my left shoulder for the tackle. So I've lined them up. I can see the ball into their hands, and as they catch the ball is when I pounce and make my tackle. Okay, so I'm looking at the hip point. Now the hip point is what I refer to as that little cut. You know, if you've got the great abs and stuff like that, that little V. So it's level with the hip and the belly button. Okay, just below the belly button. But on that space in between there, that's where I want to plop my shoulder as much as possible. So I'm driving into that hip point. So I've lined my shoulder up. I've got my body into that tower of power. I'm lining up my shoulder into the hip point. So as they catch the ball, I slow it really down, slow it down. I get my foot in nice and close. So I make sure virtually stepping on their toes. I then drive my shoulder in. I've got my hands up following in. I then drive my shoulder into the hip point. Okay, I wrap my arms around and link them together. So I've got my hands around them. Okay, in a nice tight vice grip. Okay, I give the leg drive. So they've still got the ball. I'm below the ball level of the ball. I'm driving through and I keep my leg drive going until they hit the floor. So I'm pulling and squeezing. So I'm driving my legs and I'm squeezing with my arms until they're on the floor. And then that's when the tackle's completed. Okay, so again, it's about you putting in as much detail as you want. Okay, So do you then follow it on? So think of examples you could follow it on. For me, that would be, I then practice the jackal from that point of view. You know, getting up and getting back into a position to contest possession. Ripping the ball out. Okay, I could then work on, from the tackle point of view again, I could work on a high-low system. So the person outside me, okay, is going to go high on the ball, or they could be making the first tackle and going low, and I could be looking at targeting the ball and ripping the ball out. Again, it comes down to the specific skill that you want to practice. So that's pretty much it. Have a go, have a chat with me or any of the other coaches, see what you think, bit of feedback on what we've talked about or what I've discussed in this video. Okay, again, it's not meant to be an in-depth course, it's just me giving my opinion on what I think we can practice. So the next topic we're going to look at is what we refer to as mental toughness. Okay, that's quite a vast subject. Again, we'll just be putting key points and just having a chat about those. Okay, hope you found that a bit beneficial. Let me know your thoughts and I'll speak to you later. Cheers, bye.